So I invite now for the next session, Dr. Sudha Reddy to please come on stage to lead the next session. This panel is full, so over to Dr. Sudha Reddy. And post this, she'll get 2 honors.
Good afternoon. I request Srinivas Rao sir and Dr. Lakshminarayana and Dr. Babu. So I know Dr. M.S. Rao since 2 decades, sir, and I bought some data from the sir. And he really goes to the farmers and help the farmers, which I really appreciate, sir. I wanted you to give the good message to my all industries.
Thank you.
Your technology, how the industries can take up and do the mass production, and how can they deliver to the farmers, which is the most gap which you should give it to the industries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir has given a lot of data on, especially I took the technology on Paslomyces leniensis for the data for applying for CIB, and he helped us in BIRAC production, especially for me, for EPN, and he helped all the industries without any time, any day if you call, he always used to help us. Thank you so much, sir, and I request you to give a good biological crop protection to the industries, and how can they take it forward in mass production. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Is it working? Can I use this? Hello. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to thank BEPA for giving me this opportunity. Dr. Venkatesh, Dr. John Peter, Dr. K.R. Reddy, they have been, and Dr. Sudha Reddy, they have been good friends of mine. And I have a mentor, Dr. Abraham Verghese. Actually, he has been mentoring. He was head of the department when I was working in the Division of Entomology and Nematology. And my good friend, Dr. Kamala Jayanti is there. And my students and my friends. And I would like to salute the industry warriors, industry players in a big way, because they are the people who are doing the great service to the nation. Whatever the sustainable agriculture is happening, it is because of you. Industry players, bio input producers actually are doing the great thing. And so I would like to salute all of you, because this is the need of the hour, and there is a lot actually bio input producers have to do for this country. The farmers are looking, the farmers are highly confused and then mostly exploited community in this country, though they are the backbone of India. But then you are the people actually to be able to really support them. The crisis is a sustainable agriculture. Actually, people are talking, but the crisis has been there actually for the last 20, 30 years. And now only people started realizing a lot about the bio-agriculture, bio-intensive agriculture. Yeah, can I have my slides, please? So, the microbial technology actually is microbial crop protection technology is a very wide subject. It's a vast subject, absolutely. And I would like to cover a very brief way, and then some discussions are there we can discuss, here or even even outside also during the tea time or lunch time. So basically, everybody talks about the soil, and the soil health actually is important. That's how the plants can be supportive, and then the animal health is linked with the soil, and the human health is also linked. Actually, there is a requirement to understand this particular thing, and then that has happened actually. That's a wonderful thing which has happened. Everybody yesterday spoke about that, and today also a lot of people spoke about that. Soil health has been giving a lot of importance. But then what and how actually, the farmers do not understand, and farmers don't understand actually. So the bio input producers have to really make aware of the farmers, and the input producers have to conduct a lot of training programs. KVKs are doing and ICR is doing, but then that is a different way of training, because they don't have inputs. Now you have the inputs, and you know what is to be done, and you will be able to help the farmer in a better way. than any other scientists or researchers. Scientists and researchers can give the protocols and can give the technologies, can coordinate the, the whole thing actually, but then the industry has to play a major role. That's what I just want to emphasize, because the extension that it has to be done by the industry is a totally different, because it's a farmer-oriented and it's a focused. It addresses the problems of the farmer. The grassroots problems actually can be understood only by the industry because they are in the field. And they work actually various aspects actually. Farmer, see, I'm a nematologist by profession. And I started working with the industry. I became a pathologist, I became an entomologist, I became a soil scientist, I became a molecular biologist. Everything I had to become because I had to work with the industry. If I had not worked with the industry, I would have worked actually as a nematologist and I would have retired as a nematologist. But I'm saying this because I had actually an opportunity to work with the industry. So then I had to become everything, agronomist, horticulturist, and sustainable agriculturist now. So industry, I give the credit because after working with industry said I need liquid formulations. I need the problems to address the soil problems, and I need address the aerial diseases. All this. So that made me actually to come into this particular level, and we gave the technology almost Trichoderma, Pseudomonas, and Bacillomyces and Poconia to almost around 620 industry clients actually in the country. From the Indian Institute of Horticultural Research. I worked actually in the Indian Institute of Horticultural Research for 30 years. And I'll just show you the next slide, please. Yeah, this is the one. Yes. See, the losses are huge. The losses are huge actually. So we have data for various diseases and all, but the farmer is struggling. Wilt problem is there, virus problem is there, insect problems are there. Sucking pests are becoming a serious problem. So, but then the chemicals are not the only solutions. I'm not against the chemicals. We talk about IPM, integrated pest management. Integrated pest management actually, but then the bioagents play a great role. And the losses are huge. And when we talk about the holistic way actually, when we talk about the technology. Only microbial technology offers a holistic solutions to the farmers. Why? Because, see, if you see soil ecosystem, a lot of harmful pathogenic fungi, bacteria, and insect pests are all available. And in the aerial areas actually, if you see the phyllosphere above ground level, it can actually accommodate almost around 10 million microbes in each square centimeter. This is the nature. This is the God's creation. So, but this is not happening. That's why there are so many thrips, so many sucking pests. So many problems actually in the country because this is not happening. The endophytes, which are there in the nature, do all this. But then, we really don't, understand, we didn't understand this. Now we have realized it. Now everybody spoke about lot about soil microbiome. Dr. Apparao spoke about the soil microbiome. And Dr. K.R. Reddy also always speaks about soil microbiome, plant microbiome. Ultimately, a holistic approach can come to the microbial technology. That's why I'm trying to emphasize actually there is a tremendous role that you need to play. And see, when we talk about, can I? Okay, so I'll go for this slide only. When we talk about actually, the insect pest problems, so the solutions, absolutely holistic solution is possible with the biocontrol agents or through the microbial technologies. Because, yes, we do have great molecules, chemicals have done great, help to the farmers. I'm not against the chemicals. But the indiscriminate uses have been happening, and thrips have assumed a great dimension. Sucking pests have become a great problem. Mealybugs have become a great problem. Root grubs have become a great problem because there has been some amount of biological suppression which was operating. Now it's not operating. So we have to bring that actually in the ecosystem, and only the industry can do. Industry can do actually. So I just want to give the information that actually the pesticides, Verticillium lacani, Now it is called actually, Lecanicillum lecani. It's an excellent actually, biopesticide, and Beauveria bassiana, Numeria raleigh, and Metrosium anisepliae. They do a great role. They do a great role. But a lot of industries have to come into this and then start producing in a big way. Now, I like to request actually BEPA to take it up actually in a big way. Now, there are some industries which are, producing actually, Beauveria and Metrosium, Verticillium lecani together. And they have claimed actually great benefit to the farmers. But then it doesn't, come under any category, biostimulant category or FCO category or CABRC category. Verticillium lecani can go into the, CABRC, but put together with, Metrosium, it doesn't go into the category of actually a biostimulant or FCO. So I request BEPA and Dr. John Peter and Dr. Venkatesh and then Dr. K.R. Reddy have already represented about these combination formulations. There is a need to have a sort of a guideline actually to bring probably under the biostimulant or whatever it is actually, a combination formulations is the way, ultimately that is the future. And even Dr. Rosa Tripathi also said that actually throughout the world actually people talk about the consortia. Consortia makes a lot of difference. So consortia have a tremendous strength. Consortia can do a lot actually. Single agent biopesticides have some limitations. So this is what actually is a forum where BEPA can take it up in a big way, and ultimately, at least by 2023 or 24, industry should be able to produce consortia. So this is what I request. And now when you talk about the soil health, Pseudomonas fluorescens, Bacillus subtilis, Trichodon viridae, Trichodon harzianum, Pasolomyces. If you want to be, if I go slowly, Pasolomyces is a bionematicide. It takes care of the nematodes. And Pseudomonas fluorescens actually takes care of the wilt bacteria. It's a biobactericide. And Bacillus subtilis also a biobactericide. But then I tell you, they are great growth promoters, biobactericides, biofungicides, bionematicides, and at the same time, plant growth promoters. And also fertilizer solubilizing, ability that they have. So Trichodon viridae is also a versatile, biocontrol agent. So these are the things actually doing a great job, and CABRC, has given the accreditation actually for all these things. Approvals are there, guidelines are there. And from IIHR, we have given the technology of Trichodon viridae to almost around 220 industries, Pseudomonas fluorescens 220 industries, and Pasolomyces around 120 industries. So they have been producing. Now the issue is that industry wants actually some consortia. They have to be having a consortia actually, combining Bacillus subtilis and Trichoderma. They have a great combination. Dr. Chaudappa has really, has got one particular technology. IIHR gives it actually as a consortia. It's called, Seed Pro. So they have a tremendous, compatibility and synergy, and then ultimately, farmers are getting benefited in a great way. But then there is no law, there is no guideline. So the government has to, BEPA has to influence the government. That again and again I'm saying that actually there should be some way out for the farmers to be able to have the consortia. Because farmer doesn't have a nematode problem alone. He doesn't have the only sucking pest problem alone. He has the Leptopterus pest, he has sucking pest, he has a, nematodes, he has a fungus, he has a bacteria in the soil. So the problems are complex. So consortia is a solution. If you talk about organic agriculture or bio-intensive agriculture, without biopesticides, you will not be able to do anything. So this is what I just want to give the main message is that there is a tremendous role for the biopesticides in this country, and a lot of industries can take it up in a big way. And biofertilizers, so we don't say only biopesticides can do these are the panacea for the whole problems of the human, the farmers. No, we do need actually biofertilizers. And we have seen about the soil microbiome, actually biofertilizers, biopesticides live together. In the forest ecosystem, when I was working as a scientist, you talk about a nematologist and then you talk about the fungal pathogens and the bacterial pathogens. What is this? I said only thing is, in the forest ecosystem, you get Azotobacter, you get PSB, you get potassium soluble bacteria. At the same time, you get the Pasolomyces, Trichoderma, and Bacillus. How does it happen? They coexist together. That's a beautiful nature. We are trying to bring it back to that actually. So why consortia? Why consortia? Government asks actually. People come out to actually, we have to say that there is a need and there is a compatibility. Farmer gets benefit. Ecological, health in agriculture is possible. Sustainable agriculture is possible in this particular manner. So this is what I am trying to show. So you see the soil health. Ultimately, when you talk about the, organic matter, I just want to tell actually all the industry, whenever you are promoting among the farmers, you promote your products, bio inputs, whether it is Pseudomonas or Bacillus or it is a Bavaria, soil-borne, I'm talking about soil-borne, Bacillomyces or Trichoderma or Pseudomonas, always promote with the, organic matter. I claim, actually, I always say that actually, no farmer should use a single gram of farmyard manure or any organic manure or any form of neem cake or any form of one without using sending along with the biopesticides. That's what I always say. Please carry this message. No organic matter should be applied actually without biopesticides. There has to be microbial biopesticides. It has to go with the Pseudomonas and the Bacillomyces. It has to go with the Trichoderma. That is the way out. You just cannot actually apply 100 liters of Pseudomonas and 100 liters of Trichoderma and you see the tangible benefits. It doesn't happen. You need to have some food for its survival. So the organic matter is the key for the soil health, at the same time microbial health, microbial multiplication. So please carry this message whenever you are telling the farmer, whenever you are introducing about your product actually, you don't speak about your product alone. You also speak about the delivery system. Let me tell you, various government agencies do not understand actually how it has to be delivered. But industry knows the problems of the farmers. You can tell them how to deliver the product. Delivery should be always with the, definitely with the organic matter. Yeah, so I was there in IIHR for last 30 years. I just want to show 2 slides. We have developed actually complete data to the Trichoderma, Pseudomonas and Bacillomyces and Peconia we gave to the industry. At the same time, me and my students and my whole team for last 15 years, we developed the data on Bacillus subtilis, subtilis liquid from solid formulations, Primulus liquid and solid formulations, Aminolactuations liquid and solid formulations, Bacillus megaterium, Pseudomonas putida. All these formulations absolutely are actually are in the final stage. 90% of the data has been done. This is available with the BEPA. So toxicology data is available, lab bioefficacy data is available, field bioefficacy data is available. Different agroclimatic regions, we don't have data. So that's one actually is lacking. And similarly, Pseudomonas fluorescens liquid formulations, we have the data. Trichoderma viridae liquid formulations and Trichoderma harzianum and Peconia, Bacillomyces, all these liquid formulations data is available. I request BEPA to be able to, I discussed with the, So I discussed with the, IIHR. Even when I was there, actually, the funds crunch was there. And the funds crunch is also there even after 3 years after my retirement. So they are not able to complete that 10% of data. Otherwise, this 12 biopesticides will be available in the public domain and will be, can be shared by the industry. As 620 industries have shared the, data of Trichoderma Pseudomonas. This I am putting in front of all of you. BEPA can deliberate and then think about. I discussed with Dr. Uma Maheshwari, who is in charge actually for this now. She said that she doesn't have funds. When I discussed with the director, so he also says the funds are the problems. So the whole ICR and the whole government system, funds are the problems. But if you realize that actually this is important and this can come up, this will be useful, then I was thinking actually that corpus fund can be, given from the BEPA to the IIHR. We talk about PPP model. Dr. Appara also spoke about that. This is important. This is possible. You have to work out with an MOU. And then how, the people who are contributing for the funding, actually, how they will have a favorable treatment from the ICR. So all these things you should be able to work out. So the 12 technologies will be available where the 90% of the data, almost around 15 students, team members actually have worked for almost around 10 years and spending around 2.5 crores of the DBT, DST funds. So this is for your information. You can deliberate and you can discuss and think about that. So, sustainable agriculture, 100, great productivity and the soil conservation, soil health improvement, and the society by and large gets the residue-free materials with the, microbials and microbials. So thank you. Thanks a lot for this opportunity that you have given to me. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Thank you, sir. You gave a very good presentation. How many industries wants to come up? They can join us, and together we can take a data from MS Rao, sir. And Lakshminarayan, sir, is a great person. Now he has got a patent on bioherbicide, which is really need for organic farming. So first we have to congratulate him for getting the patent. Thank you. And that is to control the weedicides, which most of the organic farmers keeps asking me, ma'am, anything for organic weedicide. So it's the right person is here. All industries are here, sir.
Thank you, Sudha. Good morning, everybody. Delegates, our industry colleagues, scientists, well-wishers. Today we are going to talk about a unique thing. We have been talking about microbes and pest and disease control more, and somehow the weed control has taken a backseat. So we at AgBio wanted to do something different, and we have started working. Can I have the slides, please? Akash. Thank you. So we thought maybe why all of us are working only on the microbes, and they have some inherent problems also, where the microenvironment, if it is not suitable, we are not able to give the ease of application to the farmer, and the farmer's expectation is to ask for immediate results in comparison to the chemical pesticides. So we started thinking beyond microbes. We are looking at microbial elutes as bioherbicides. Next slide, please. So I can do it here. Yeah. So we have targeted top 10 noxious weeds in the world. Out of that, we have taken the top 3. Eichhornia crucipus, Parthenium hysterosporum, and Lantana camara. These weeds may not be directly into the agro-ecosystem, but for Parthenium and Lantana, and one is on a water weed. But nevertheless, this is the major problem what we are having. And apart from this, we are also working another 4 or 5 leads, including a weedicide, bioherbicide for paddy. And we have already cracked on Heptis, also some other weeds, water weeds also. So if you see, all these noxious weeds are invasive, perfectly invasive, because of their the seed proliferation and other things. They are very, in fact, actually, if you see, all these are coming from South America into India and rest of the world. And why this is happening is, for the beautification, some of the people, Queen Victoria has brought for some as a beautification into India. And most of the places it has been spread like that. And they have especially Eichhornia, water hyacinth, the seed viability is about 20 years. When you have 20 years of seed viability, it's a perfect invasive. And there is also vegetative growth. This damn plant goes about, in 15 days it doubles. In 1 acre, Eichhornia grows to a level of 125 tons. And every 15 days it grows. And 20 years is the seed viability. Likewise, we have seen Parthenium going all over up to China, and Australia is not figuring in that, but Australia also. And the last circle what we are seeing on the globe, this is Lantana camara, is covering all over. And one more thing, for this water hyacinth is on a very niche area. They are paying as high as $85 per square meter in all over the world almost, because this needs to be, the mat needs to be removed out after that. So by using our bioherbicide, we are reducing the mass of the plant from the day 1 to day 8 to 10. We are reducing it to a level of, say, something like about 85%. So the labor cost or harvesting out cost will be cheaper by using this. Yes, I was talking about the ease of application. The moment you apply this biological elutes, it works as good as a chemical. Now you can see within 2 hours of the spraying, you can see the inward curling of Iconia, and within 10 days you can see that drying up, and we can use this mat outside for making a good manure, and finally we can use it for our plants. This is about Parthenia. Within 48 hours, we can see the drying of the leaf. And 7th day of application, you can see highly selective. It doesn't affect any other plant in a sensitive ecosystems, even in the forest and other areas. So this is very suitable for us. This is again on Lantana camera. Here also we can see within 48 hours, you can see the effect of this. In 2 hours, you can start observing the effects. In 48 hours, it starts working very well. And 7th day, you can see total drying of the plant. And it is also highly selective. In any sensitive areas, when we spray in forest flora, nothing happens to the other. So, okay, generally we do a lot of research. Most of us will be depending on that, on the biological systems. Basically, we leave at the research at the ground level. So now what we thought is, we need to protect the research into a proper way and try to get into the regulatory affairs and other things so that the product will be complete and ready for global operations. Now we have GLP tox data developed on a GLP data on OECD protocols. So 6-pack acute tox package is ready. And we also have the ecotox on fish, avian, as well as honeybee. So the basic data are ready. Maybe some countries want some additional data on earthworm or something. So those can be done as per the requirement of the importing country or registering country. Now we didn't stop at going only at the crude metabolites. We started characterizing these metabolites. Now we can say, like under NMR we have studied, and we have a compound, first biomolecule compound from India. I think I started my career about 45 years back into agrochemicals. There we are taught that it takes about $1,500 million to get a new compound. Now, I'm proud to stand before you all as your industry colleague. It is possible from India also to get this kind of a molecular structures, but we can make it. And this will be very highly specific. Maybe future, there may be a possibility of synthesis like neem, how it has been extracted and purified. Maybe that kind of a thing can come also. But as long as it is to be used by farmers, this, even though it is in a ppm level, it works very well. And we don't need to waste our resources for eliminating water and other fermentation solids out of the broth. Now, luckily, in the guidelines for biostimulants, first time India has started using CFCF, cell-free culture filtrate. So this is the cell-free culture filtrate product which is coming, and I'm sure even though for biopesticides there is no special mention of this as a guideline, there cannot be two different guidelines for biostimulants and biopesticide for safety. So I feel this product is ready for further taking over. Now, we have also done the IP protection to a level. We have applied patents in 24 patents for all the 3 bioherbicides. And we have received on hand about 14 certificates on hand and 22 totally granted patents. We are waiting for the certificate to come. And 2 are in process for water hyacinth, especially in Egypt, and the other one is in Thailand. The delay is because every time they give some paper, so translation is becoming a little hassle. That's the kind of a delay is what we are facing. But I think maybe given another 3 to 4 months, all the certificates will be in hand and we should be ready with everything. These are the patents, different countries what we have, including US, Japan, Australia, big countries, and we can get the other countries also easily. Now, this is our technology status. Now we have protected, IP protected in 24 patents in 14 countries. We have registered with NBA under Nagoya Protocol. We have done the GLP tox data under OECD protocols. And bioactive characterization and identification is done completely. Then we have deposited the strain. We have ownership of the strains. We went beyond varietal characters and published data. So we have in ownership of the strain also. And we have done the complete genome studies. So bioactive profiling and extraction is also done. So we have the technical grade material also. Now, GLP ecotox data generated for honeybee, fish, and avian. So this way we are getting ready for the global competitiveness from an Indian company. Now, we welcome collaborations. The BioHub search for the world's top 3 noxious weeds for the first time on microbial elutes. We can look for licenses product-wise, geographical areas, patent licensing in different territories, technology transfers, manufacturing licenses, co-development opportunities, and not to forget the growing business opportunities in biologicals world over. Thank you very much. Thanks for your kind attention. I'll be available. I mean, maybe questions and any other things. I know there may be some kind of questions which will come. Maybe whenever the networking is free, we can talk it over. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Dr. Lakshmanana, because correctly he has finished his presentations, and any industries wants to take up his products for marketing, I think he's the right person who can give you after he gets license. Now I request Dr. Babu to give presentations.
Good afternoon to everyone. First of all, I take this opportunity to thank the sponsors for inviting me to talk in front of you. And this is may I have the first slide, please? It is from a different crop altogether. Actually, from the morning we are hearing about all agricultural crops. So I am coming from tea. And the role of microbials, I will be concentrating on the success story, what we have done to make the microbes available to the industry through a PPP mode, what we have done. Next. So my presentation is actually the tea industry in India, tea pest problem and the current use of pesticides, pesticide residue problems in tea, implementation of plant protection code by the Ministry of Commerce and Tea Board, and what is the need for this microbial studies, why we have gone for that. That is identification and sequencing of microbes from soil ecosystem, tea ecosystem, formulation, lab studies, GLP studies as per as CAB RC norms, and commercial opportunity of microbes. So in a outset, I wanted to tell that tea is cultivated in around 5,79,000 hectares throughout India, and it produces more than 1,300 million kilos annually, as per the latest record. And Assam is the largest producer, which produces 50% of the total production in India, followed by North Bengal, 25%, and another 25% from the rest of India. So the crop loss in tea due to pests which includes pest, insect pest, diseases as well as the weeds, account for about 85 million kilogram of tea annually. So coming to the pesticides, see, to manage the pest and diseases as well as the weeds, these are all the 13 insecticides being recommended, approved by the CABRC and which is finding a place in Plant Protection Code. 13 insecticides, 13 acaricides, then fungicides, 7 fungicides and herbicides around 9. We have been managing the crop by using and rotating these chemicals annually, and which is having an impact on our export. Although the tea, 80% of the tea is consumed in India, the 20% which makes a very stringent norms to export the product. So we have to keep, even though we cannot go away from the pesticides, we have to use the pesticide in a judicious way to keep the MRL levels under control so that our export is not affected. So pesticide regulations in India, as per any other crop, with respect to tea also, is controlled by the Food Safety and Standards Acts of 2006 and the Insecticide Acts 1968. And as you know that as any crop, any new molecules has to be evaluated, multi-local evaluation has to be done, and studies on the phytotoxicity, natural enemies, as well as the tainting, apart from the company which is coming forward for registration will take up the GLP studies on the non-target organisms, ecotoxicology and other data. Finally, it is registered. So before the implementation of the Plant Protection Code in 2015, we were also using some of the microbials which is recommended, the biopesticides which have been included in our schedule so that we can reduce the pesticide load on tea. But after implementation of the 2015 PPC code by India, we are left out with less molecules for the control and no effective botanicals and no registered microbials in tea. Earlier in agriculture, other products are being used for the control. For example, Beauveria bassiana, Phacillomyces, Verticillium were integrated with the pesticides. But after PPC, it is not having a label claim. We could not use those formulations. So this lead to the identification, sequencing of microbes from the tea ecosystem itself. And an attempt has been made to isolate the Beauveria bassiana, Metarhizium and Trichoderma from tea soils through a project funded by the CRS BIRAC with a partnership with the Varsha Bioscience. So after 2016, we started this work, and now I am happy to say that these 3 microorganisms, after completing all the trials, is in the verge of getting CAB clearance. Dr. John has already got the export license for the three products. So the Metarhizium for the red spider mite and termite in tea plantations, and Beauveria bassiana against the tea mosquito bug, and antagonistic fungi Trichoderma, the new species Aspergillum, against the Fusarium solani. So apart from this, this could be possible because of the partnership. Earlier, actually, all our research, these things are in the shelf as a report. Now we have done a translation study from lab to land, and it is it will be by December. We will be launching these products. And apart from this, the work progress in microbials in tea ecosystem includes the NPB, which we have isolated from the looper caterpillars, and we have done this whole genome sequencing, and we have developed a technology to mass multiply, and the technology is ready for commercialization. If anybody of you interested, that will be. Only problem is, as you know, that we need the host insects to be cultured. But there also we have developed an artificial diet to mass rear the loopers in the laboratory during the off season also, and with the help of a company called the Genome, we have developed this technology, and it is found to be very effective. And apart from that, 2 actinomycetes we have isolated from tea soils, and we found that it is good against the Fusarium dieback. And entomopathogenic nematode also for the management director. With these three things are ready for commercialization and do that. Further, we have lot of local isolates which can be on a, we can share the technology on a MOU so that we will develop in a joint venture. And I assure you that once it is developed as a formulation, 70% of your marketing is taken care of us. Because whatever TRA is advising, there is no need for a separate marketing for tea. So these are all the, so adoption of such non-chemical control method, especially using the beneficial microbes as the component of integrated pest and disease management program against the tea pest will go a long way for an integral part of the sustainable tea cultivation. I take this opportunity to thank the following CIB, BIRAC, Varsha Bioscience, and BAP organizers for the wonderful opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. You gave a good presentations. But most of us will have a tea without, the leaves are never washed. So much of pesticides and we're all having tea daily. At least all industries will be having minimum 5 to 6 times. Imagine we all must be having pesticides in our body. So I would like to talk about how I started my business and how I'm helping farmers in this biocontrols, predators and everything. Now what Lakshman sir was telling, there's a predator which controls even Parthenium. You all of know that? I think Uday sir must be knowing. There's an insect which eats Parthenium. Okay. There's a fungus which controls weedicide for Myrothecium. You all heard about this? No, I'll show you my presentation. Akash. So this technology is how it is reached to the farmers is, I keep on taking classes to the farmers, explaining it. Best example I take is the Copats company, how they rate the predators and how they did past 30 years in this field. And so I keep explaining them and then they'll say, okay ma'am, okay ma'am. After next 1 month, they'll come and say, okay, please give me a little bit. So this is how I'm really helping farmer sector without going for any chemical pesticides. So generally now people want chemical free. Earlier, people used to talk about land to fork. Now people are talking from fork to land. They really want to see where the food is coming because all ladies are educated and all men are educated with one child. So they all want to see the best food they want to give more than the materialistic world. They really want to eat the good food. So basically I deal with these microbials, macrobials, predators, pheromones and biostimulants. This when I started EPN around 7-8 years back, people used to say, who will do this? It's so tough. But today now in Maharashtra, I almost sold more than 40 to 50 tons and people are really asking, ma'am, give me immediately. So I'm sending them through bus because transport takes a long time. So now there's a change in the market and farmers are seeing a tremendous results with these predators. So this is one which I give them a complete package, like I give them EPN, trichocards, radiovet bugs, chrysopilla, and all this package to the farmers where they're really taking, and they're coming back with a good saying that we have got a very good yield. Next, we keep telling the storytelling to the farmers. For example, Bivaria, which sir was talking. The Bivaria with Ashwagandha, there's one company French company which have launched for neuro diseases, especially for Parkinson's and Alzheimer. And Chinese do Bivaria on the silkworm, which controls cancer. So I request MS Rao sir and all to develop more data on a human also. The same thing which I supply for humans, for aqua, for cement industries, for carpet cleanings, the same bacteria can be used in tremendous, not only for agriculture. Now, US people are really asking me, ma'am, what are you supplying for plants, soil microbes, give it for human. I said, why? The reason behind this, earlier they used to drink mineral, river water and well water. Now people are missing this. Now they're taking the SBOs. The SBOs means generally like Azoospermillum, PSB, potash bacteria, including Bivaria and all those, almost 33 strains they were asking me to supply for humans. And they found a very good results for gut microbes. So this, whoever wants to start industries, they have a huge opportunities in fermentation technology, not only for agriculture, for aquaculture, poultry, for human, for cleaning, and all industries, STP, ETP treatments. Imagine so much of thing is there in microbial. And recently I was sitting in the government concept note for they said they're willing to give 30 rupees per kg for all biofertilizers and 60 rupees for all liquid fertilizers, which they're going to launch immediately. I think anybody who wants to go up, they can go up in a very big scale, but the minimum turnover, I think it have to be around 5 crores or 50 crores, I don't know, but which might come up very shortly. Each industry which has more than 5 crores turnover can apply for the government of India per kg of fertilizers where they're willing to give 30 rupees and per liquid they're willing to give 60 rupees. I think India wants to come up in a big scale in biofertilizers and biopesticides and policy making also. I think Uday sir was telling 30% for import duty, which we can fight with the government. I also come up with the oil palm project. We fought with the government and we reduced the 30% on import duties because you're only one, sir. So we, as a group of BIPA can help you to reduce this 30% of import duty, where we fought with the government of India and they reduced this 30% because this is a need for the country. So definitely they will reduce it because they doesn't know what is this product. So when I go to the farmers and explain about this natural insects, show them lot of videos and then explain to them, and that is how I keep selling it to the farmers, and I have more than lakhs of farmers from Tibet border also. So this, nowadays, I don't have any dealer marketing because dealers, it's very tough to change their mind. So this is how I show them videos, Facebooks, WhatsApp, shade them how they're working, shade them one farmer's better results, and then other farmers says, ma'am, please give me. So this is how I keep doing my marketing. So India, it is very tough because India has a small holding farmers. But the opportunity is so high in India because India is the second biggest in agriculture. We have 6,38,000 villages. Even 1 lakh if you supply in one village is 6,000 crores per month. Imagine the business what we have. So all industries can think over, join hands that we can do for this whole country. Such a big business we have and huge opportunities. We can create employments, we can create business. Thank you. Any doubts you can ask me. Any doubts to the panel?
This is the reply to Dr. MS, who has raised about the combination biopesticides. BIPA has already pitched with the Government of India and sent a proposal. And based on our proposal, they have asked us to give a presentation in the panel. And we have also given a presentation, and the committee has been formed to formulate the guideline for combination biopesticides. This is because of BIPA's effort, and we should be proud about it. Thank you very much.
So I request all of you all to join BIPA so that we'll get in a cheaper price. Yes, sir? Yes, especially for from audience, anyone for panel discussions, you can ask questions.
Thanks for bringing out this interesting subject of rupees 30 per kilogram production-linked incentive for granule and 60 per liter. Where can the members, RSO, can get more details, and how do we approach this subject collectively so that all the members get benefited in terms of, augmenting the
So
production?
it is still in the process, sir.
Which ministry?
Ministry of Agriculture.
So I think we should get more details and share with all members as it happens.
This is under Ministry of Agriculture.
Thank you.
They wanted to give for 30 rupees per kg of whatever the price you wanted. Suppose you want 100, 200, they're not bothered. They're bothered that 30 rupees per kg of biofertilizers, and for liquid, they're willing to give for 60 rupees. And it can be in 3-4 combinations. Need not be one culture like Azospirillum and PSB. They can have blend of, and even for exports, they're willing to give the subsidies.
Hi, good afternoon, ma'am. I represent IPL Biologicals. I just want to pitch in a question. Ma'am, formulations, still if we compare with our chemical counterparts with respect to biopesticides, is a huge challenge. How do you see going forward? Because formulations, the machinery, the equipment, the chemical pesticides usage, they are very costly sprayers, the drip irrigation part of it, and we are still with talc-based formulations, aqueous-based formulations. How do you see biopesticides upgrading themselves?
See, generally what I do is, if it's a talc formulations, I try to give them one small formulations like soak them in buttermilk, next day use them in the drip irrigations, especially in horticulture crops, we have a lot of drip. So I tell them, give them a format like thing, like soak them in panchagaviyam or buttermilk. But it's real tough. The farmer says, no ma'am, give me an alternative, give me alternative. So the liquid fertilizers is good, but now the government should come up with the liquid fertilizers and formulations.
Again, with liquid fertilizers, all the mycelial-based, say, kind of biopesticides, that's a huge challenge.
True.
So I want to request.
But there is some compatibility with some pesticides also.
Yeah,
For
exactly.
especially
That's
in
my
BPH
second
and all
question.
those, we have a compatibility with metarrhizum, with
Yeah, exactly.
imida and all those.
Exactly, that's my part 2 of the question, wherein I heard the speaker talking about a lot about the compatibility done as far as the tea as a crop is concerned with the chemical counterparts and the biological biopesticides. With respect to other commercial crops, do some similar studies, or which institute has kind of done that kind of study? Because all the respected members from the morning have been saying that this industry would go hand in hand or as a complementary to our established chemical counterparts. So that's the way to flourish. So how do we have a marriage between chemicals and biologicals? So that's my thought. So
Anyone can answer
the
that?
speakers can guide.
Yeah, see, it's a very pertinent thing actually. So when we talk about sustainable agriculture, chemicals we are not ruling out, and we want to bring the bios. So when you talk about biopesticides, a lot of biopesticides are highly compatible with the various chemicals. What happens when you talk about Pseudomonas or Bacillus, 20 to 30% of the viability comes down, but nothing great happens. So Trichoderma, except carbendazim, nothing can take away actually kill the viability of the Trichoderma to the extent of 90%, except carbendazim. So like this, there is data available in the, in the ICR and agriculture systems. And then the industry also has data because their farmers, their clients are spraying actually along with the chemicals. Precisely, the bacillus is mixed with the, various other, chemicals and being sprayed. And BASF actually has, a recommendation like that. So bacillus can be mixed, Pseudomonas can be mixed. Like this, in this, Bavaria, Vercem Lacane, some data is available, but then there is a great possibility. And industry, if you sit together, actually, industry has a lot to share, with everyone actually. So they have the data. So there is a compatibility between the, bioagents, and there is a synergy between the chemicals and the bios. So it is no more something like actually chemicals means, bios, nothing, you should not use it. You can use it, and that's the way out. Exactly. And that's the only way. And I have seen so many farmers, using it actually. We never knew that farmers can do this because they said cost of application spraying is very expensive. So that's why we mixed it. And how do you feel? It's excellent. And they have reduced the chemicals. They have reduced the chemicals, absolutely. So they said we were spraying around 5-6 sprays actually for one particular problem. Now we mixed actually bios, and then we are getting actually excellent result, and we reduced the use of the chemicals by almost around 30 to 40%. Instead of 5 sprays, just only 3 sprays. So that's what's happening. So there has been a marriage actually between the chemicals and the bios, and the data actually a lot of data is coming out from the ICR, and see, more than that, I request industry to be able to document all this data, because farmers can give you a lot of data actually. If you can give, spend some time, and you get a lot of information between the chemicals and bios.
I'd like to draw the attention of the industry because we at IPL Biologicals from last 5 years have been generating this data across crops, wherein we have tested the compatibility with tank mix methods and gone forward for the survivability of the microbes, and also on the field trials, be it RBD trials and other trials, wherein we completely stand at a point that a lot of insecticides, the chemical insecticides do have a compatibility. as far as the mixing goes and as far as the performance goes. They are the performance enhancers. And let me kind of have I would hand it over to my R&D head also to just add on to it.
Thank you, Salke ji. So this compatibility of pesticides and biologicals, it is one of the need of the hour. As an industry, we understood. Yes, biologicals is good for the crops, but they cannot be a standalone solutions. There have to be a way out. So we did a lot of compatibility studies for the last 5 years across the crops, different products, and we found normally they are compatible. You can definitely do a tank mixing with your only the fungicides and the fungus, there is a incompatibility.
So the point is very clear. The point is very clear because of the other sessions have to take place. So
Sir,
this is what actually advantage with the BEPA, the information that you have, please share it. So it will go to all other industries. So whatever that you have told, actually, please send the data. BEPA can help a lot actually among the sharing this information to all industries.
Sir, we'll be back on that. There is one more thing regarding, the question is to Dr. Lakshmi Narayana, sir. Yeah. We were very happy to see your bioherbicide coming into the commercialization picture. That is the one aspect every industry was lacking. Just a query, how far you are from commercialization? It is at what level? And if you are happy, if you are open to collaboration, we are also ready for it. Just, we'll talk to you one-on-one, but sure. Just the commercialization, how ready it is, what is the level?
See, I
Thank
think
you.
We are just short of regulatory. So that means from now, it should be 1.5 years depending on different countries for commercialization.
Okay.
And in India, so far, our regulatory guidelines for biologicals are only as antagonists. So this is neither antagonist, so there may be a new guidelines needs to come. Okay. But we are already been invited by Government of India and various brainstorming sessions for bioherbicides, because the main reason for that is they are not finding any alternative for weed control in organic farming. So this seems to be on a fast track. But as of now, in current situation, it should be 1 year to 1.5 years. But in a fast track, maybe it can happen depending on their requirements. There may be fast tracking. Now we have already signed a project for the bioefficacy with ICAR Center for Weed Science from Jabalpur.
Yeah.
In three locations, 2-season trials we are already started. Yesterday we have signed day before yesterday we signed the agreement. And this doesn't take a whole season trial because there is no residue or yield data required.
Yeah.
So it will be only on about maximum 8 to 10 days the experiment can be done and the balance time can be taken for the computations. So it's about 15 days to 20 days for reporting maximum we get our result. That's how we are trying. So far is that, and maybe what we have done is we have done some basic formulations, and I do agree there are adjuvants which can improve and other things. So we are also working on it for improving our formulations, especially for the water hyacinth, because it has a waxy layer, penetration is little cuticular penetration, and as well as stomatal opening and entry of our biochemicals is very important, and we are looking for some kind of a help in the formulations. I mean, we are approaching some of the experts like Croda and RO and other things. We are trying to get natural products as additives so that we can also get into the organic farming.
Thanks a lot, and for actually very helpful and the suggestions what you have given. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Just in the end, I just want to give information actually when the chemicals, bios are mixed, actually the pesticide resistance management happens. The life of the chemical, is now actually some of the chemicals 4 or 5 years. Afterwards, the pesticide gets resistance. One more pesticide will come. One more pesticide will come. That's happening actually. So the pesticide resistance management happens. The pesticide life will go up. Pesticide efficacy go up. There is a synergy. So this is one information. which has come from an ICRA project, wherein a neem biopesticide, when it is used along with the chemicals, so the resistance management happens. This is a network project of 20 institutions, and this is a simple outcome. Simple outcome is that, so using biopesticide along with the chemicals, resistant management happens. So this is a, news for the, everyone. The farmer will be able to help a lot, will be able to reduce the chemicals, and then the lifespan of the chemicals also goes up. Thank you. And anybody, any information on the biopesticide, where it is available in the public domain from the ICR, from the, any other places actually, what is available, Bavaria, what's Semlacan, and all those things and all. If you want information for CIB as a registration, you can contact me. I'll be just able to help. And BEPA also, I have given the information. They'll also help actually. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Just a small query from Dr. Lakshminarayan. Regarding lantana, you mentioned the herbicide which you have prepared. I think many of you must have visited the hill stations and all those places. Hill stations now are heavily covered by lantana. And the natural population there, like there are different categories of plants like the bryophytes, the pteridophytes, gymnosperms, growing in the hilly areas. So my just query was whether this herbicide is very specific for lantana or it can have effect on these different categories of the plants, the lower plants.
It's quite all right to use this. It is highly selective and it works in any kind of environment. We are taking the trials also through Jabalpur. They are taking up in 3 locations. That's on the hill regions also. I mean, in addition to what you raised, what we would say is, like in Australia, there's about, say, something like about 17.6 million hectares. Grazing lands are infected with lantana and parthenium. And they were restricted earlier only to the coastline. Now they are slowly moving inward. Now this is having a major impact on the animals grazing on it because they can't wade through. They have lacerations and the meat is tainted and other things which are happening. And also in some places, lantana is a cause of forest fires because of the sympodial branching, and if there is an accidental fire, there seem to be little presence of phosphorus into the system, stem. So that is really catching a fire. These 2 are very, very important things. And in fact, in Hyderabad, when we have done a trial in the Deer Park with Professor Vasudeva sitting here, with him we went to do a trial for lantana. The cause and reason why they want, the forest people want that is, in the Deer Park, they were feeding the deer with every day in one place they are putting grass for them to feed. So why it is happening? There is no way there is grass growing under the lantana and parthenium and hyptis. They call it as Mahavira here. So these 3 are really occupied the forest lands. In sensitive areas, this is the best one to use. Other than that also, in our combined state of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, in 2011 it was estimated they wanted to spend 661 crore rupees for uprooting parthenium from the cotton and paddy ecosystem. That was 22.2 million hectares in these 2 states. So we are just thinking whether this is a agriculture weed or not. It is there everywhere. This is how it is happening. And lantana is a major problem in the hills and forests. But only sub-Himalayan areas, it is little less. But any other hills, it is actually taking a major role, playing a major role.
So, thank you so much, sir. Thank you to MS Rao sir and Lakshminarayan and Babu for giving a good presentations. I think you all are benefited by their presentations. So I just wanted you to take a good points from them, and then you all industry should come up with a good products. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Sudha Reddy.